Bueno, pues muchas gracias, Román. Para mí siempre es un placer estar en la RUTED. La verdad es que es cierto que me encanta el concepto de la RUTED, aunque no es mi especialidad por los que me conozcáis, pero siempre me gusta pensar que lo que hago soy un poco hacker en el sentido de que intento darle una vuelta más a las cosas y no quedarme con la forma tradicional de enfocar un problema, sino que intento buscarle pues otros usos a lo que me dedico yo, que es más en el ámbito de la gestión de la seguridad, ¿vale? Entonces, por eso el año pasado la charla era sobre cómo incorporar o cómo la no seguridad debería de tener un efecto sobre la contabilidad o sobre el valor contable de las empresas. Que no creéis que lo hemos olvidado, sigo ahí trabajando en esa idea. De hecho, pues participo en un grupo de trabajo que ha creado la Comisión Europea que se llama la NIS Platform, donde tenemos que hacer propuestas a la Comisión Europea sobre cómo pensamos que debería, enfocarse la seguridad para que mejorara el nivel en toda Europa. Y una de las propuestas que estoy llevando es precisamente
The proposals now carry on. I didn't put things away. I'm still working on the same area. My today's presentation is not like the last year. I will talk about how to manage security risk analysis. It's not going to be such a fun talk like last year. Last year I spoke about economy, but I'm sorry, this year talk is much boring because cybersecurity is a boring thing. Economy is much fun. Have any one of you work on risk analysis? Have any one of you done or made risk analysis? Please raise your hands, those who are happy doing this kind of risk analysis. This talk will go fine. I want to talk about a concept that we are trying to implement, which is agile security. It's not about implementing security with schools. No. The concept of how to manage security has to be agile. I want to communicate the message to you. I want to open your mind. In my talks, I like people to open their minds, to confront new sides. Because your current issues and problems can be targeted and tackled from different angles. That's why agility is the only way to be safe and secure, the only possible way, agility. As I said before, we're going to talk about how to manage risks. Everybody performs risks. I was coming this morning on the highway A40. I was jammed in the middle of traffic, and so I was delayed. Okay, no problem. How to manage risks? Risk management. Basically speaking, I aim at demystifying or demystifying the risk analysis. Risks are not a myth longer, because in this forum everybody is engineers. The concept of the analysis is taken very seriously. Let's see if we can define what risk analysis are. Let's then find out if risk analysis can fit in a complex scenario where there are many interactions and factors where we don't know the consequences of our actions very well, and how we can apply agility to security. How can we implement organizations which are agile and safe and secure. In this talk, we are going to talk about risk analysis. Sorry, fuck up. This is a persistent risk since last year. Is this an analysis? This person won't go outside. These are some slides regarding the methodology of risk analysis, which certifies as PME. these people are very serious in this kind of projects. They think that all projects has to be risk analyzed, and since we are engineers, we have to do the planning regarding the risks. Then let's move on to the next phases, identification. This works very well when the market is unripened, when it's a very immature market. You know this, you are very familiar with this stable environment. This aspect is very important. When you perform risk analysis, you want to identify all the possible risks for the organization. Do you really think that this is possible? As of today, you think that when you perform risk analysis, you have to identify threats, likelihoods. Do you really think that you are going to be able to identify all possible events, to assess all the likelihoods and chances in a very reasonable way? You can assess the impact, but you can get a non-biased risks in such a way that you can confront those risks which can seriously affect your organization. Do you could anyone be able to predict the 11th September, the 11 March, these terrorist attacks? Nobody can predict future. This is the very big handicap regarding the risk analysis. Since I'm an economist, I started dealing with risk analysis because it was the great opportunity in my life as to how to value the security, probabilities, and impacts. But there are some black swans. The black swans cannot be predicted. Do you know the concept of black swan? Google Nassim Taleb 2007. This dark swan is one of the very few economists being able to be rich. This mathematician, rather than economist, broke stoker, he makes a lot of money. And this person works with the concept of a black swan. It's an unpredictable event that, when it occurs, can impact greatly the organization. This term was coined because in 2000, in the century 18th, everybody thought that swans were white until they found the very first black swan. Another important feature regarding this risk analysis, we need to find arguments in favor of our estimation, and this is a big error, because you have to know that the important thing is not to find very good arguments regarding your hypothesis. You need to find an argument, a premise against your hypothesis. That's the very important point. This is a bias in our human species regarding how to perform risk analysis. Technology is against us today. I will show you some examples. Las Vegas Club Casino rigs, they spend a lot of money monitoring and doing camera surveillance issues regarding the trickers and the consters. But 4 years ago, the maximum risk analysis weren't described in the risk analysis management. Circus performance where a crazy tiger ate his tamer hands. Another person who sends a lot of statements to the IRS. Another person person performing in the casino has had an accident, and the casino had to pay for the insurance round. First, the fourth incident was that the casino has to pay the daughter's chief who stole money from the casino. And you cannot predict the future. We're very good at learning how to confront situations. Once you confront a situation, when you are going to find it again, you know how to act again. You can find it in the army, you can be trained regarding action situations, but when you change scenario, you are in the very first moment. You are like in the beginning, you are start being a dumb person. Next time you find this scenario again, you perform the better way. For us to work on things that we have previously experienced is okay, but it's very important for be ready for things which are not predictable. We don't know what are going to happen to us. And by seeing the evolution of the security scenario, that attacks are more directed and targeted. This is very important for us to take into consideration. So that's why we try to identify the risks, which is not going to be complete ever, and we need to estimate the likelihoods and impacts. We have our checklist. Somebody saw a checklist of threats? Do you? You can take it and you can see it works, it doesn't work, not too much, not too many. You make your estimation and you go through everything. What happens in the very end to estimate the likelihood of the impact? These estimations are very complicated to be done. They aren't trivial anyway. You need first to estimate the likelihood. Is there anybody working here in the financial industry when you invested money in the funds of pensions, past performances that do not guarantee future benefits? You need to estimate over the past. The Basilea Capital says you have to take 5 years of your previous events and then you perform your estimation, but it's very fundamental. But what happened to me in 2007 is going to happen in 2014, 2015. No, it won't happen again, because the point is that we are in front of an attacker who is not thinking, just the opposite. They are thinking. This works when the attacker does not think, when it's a climatological or weather incident. But when our attacker is thinking, it doesn't work, because our attacker won't repeat the very same mistake. If somebody saw that their attack doesn't work, it's worth for us being ready for the new different attack. But they're going to check, to test new things, to have your past work through doesn't work, let's put it this way, because the future is absolutely different. Roman has a mythical face, which is always a PowerPoint little box, and you put green. I was not worried, because it's very unlikely that a dumb person, a crazy person, collided this against a tower. It's not likely, but unfortunately it happens. Therefore, risk analysis don't have to make us lose the vision of what is worrying for us, which is that our organizations have to be more secure and safe. Thus are some biases. I could be able to speak about for a long time, since I will show some examples. There is a very interesting thing, which is the combination of likelihoods. You know that likelihoods are not added up. Just a second, please. If you want to add up likelihood, they are not able to be added up. They are multiplied. Probabilities are multiplied. Do you know these? Of course, you do. Please show me you aren't asleep. Probabilities is always less than 1. One thing happening 50% of the times is 0.55. Two things happening is less likelihood that one thing is happening. But something we cannot get it when we are working. Let's think about how many deaf people are due to asthma, fireworks, drownings in the swimming pool, and tornadoes. Are you thinking about? Which of them do you think is the most frequent? Who is bidding for fireworks? Tornadoes? Asthma? My goodness. And swimming pool drownings? Wow, what a load. How many of them do you think they are? You won. Swimming pools, but by this difference, one very few thought that there were fireworks, and we go up with the thing of asthma and tornadoes. But we know that drownings look like having more, but you couldn't imagine how many more. Oh, let's take it, please. Assume this fact. There were 7,380. We didn't have information. We are doing estimations based upon the availability of the information. We're working with the current available information, but we don't have all the information for us. Since you don't have it, you have to work with the things you have. Drownings, there are many swimming pools, but But you are there. Put on your finger in your nose. We are in between friends. You got up badly, and you have been jammed in a traffic issue. Oh, that you are very pessimistic. You are very pessimistic. You are doing everything. You are screwed up everything. Spain is not winning the game. Your wife is doing fine, but it's not right. That's the opposite. Let's try to do this multiplication. Perhaps there's some very intelligent guy here able to multiply. You have a bias. We have the anchorage bias, which is if you try to make the very first multiplication, the very first one is always higher than the second one. Why? Because you think about the very first number, you see number 8, and then in your mind automatically is anchored, is levered in this concept, and our mind does a higher estimations with the concept 8 is anchorage 7. When they give you some piece of data, they deceive you, they deceive you, they induce you. So, a piece of news says an accident in Chernobyl can affect 5 million people, has killed until the moment 56 people killed. One accident in Chernobyl that may affect 5 million people now is proof that has only killed 1,500. Some accident in Chernobyl is estimated to kill between 5,000 to 6,000 people. If you see that the very first estimate, a lot of thousands, you are going to think that many people are going to die. That the second one say, okay, 57, but your mind is in 5 million. You are seeing 5 million. You tend to enlarge the second one. This is the framing effect. Think of you being the mayor of a city with 1 million people. And you have this option. There is an illness and there is a vaccination that can act in a neighborhood of 1,000 people and can save, can keep alive many, 20%. And we have another vaccination that may affect the whole city, but is only going to keep alive 0.2% of the people. A neighborhood of 5,000 people is going to keep alive 20%. Oh, you say it's cool, it's cool. And people tend to think and to select the very first vaccination because it sounds better to their ears, because 20% sounds better than 0.2. But if you perform the multiplication that now is done in your minds, 5,000 per 20% are only 2,000 people. With the second option, you can save at least half the double of the people. So those who answer this question chose the very first vaccination. I don't want to get you bored. It's much more of the same. Let's think of a sportman. How is this a stereotype, a sportman? How many of you do you think that? Just imagine that the sportman goes through this door, is higher than 170 tall. Raise your hands. Why? Because we tend to think that the representativity influences us. It's not the most typical or most habitual thing. So we tend to think things that a virus attack can happen to us every day because it's in our minds, but perhaps it's not the next attack against us. This babe, I like this way to say it. This sample are equally provable and proven because they have the same X and Y's, is tails and heads when you throw the coin. If you give it to people, most of them tend to think that the most likely is the second one. Why? You know why? Because at first you think, okay, tails are head, this is not going to be done by a coin. coin will do tails and heads because we think there is their behavior, but the coin doesn't remember what it did previously because it is a random action. But we tend to think that the second is more likely because it has a more predictive behavior. It's more like the thing we are waiting for, because the sample is very small. If it were a larger sample, we will lose this bias. We tend to be optimistic because in the very end, this is another experiment given, phases, incentives given to university people estimating things about the future. The positive ones, oh, everybody thought, okay, I'm going to have a very good job, I'm going to get a good marriage, I won't get divorced. We tend to think optimists by nature. These experiments are like this. You don't see it because it's at the foot of this page, but if you wanted to see it, I'll show the data later on. This is the planning. When we perform risk analysis, myself coming from the consulting industry, doing risk analysis for 1 to 3 months, this is very expensive. You have this planning, and you perform an absolutely cool planning, and it's harmful for the organization because the organization thinks that you have done something before, but you did it. You only know what to do, but you're as insecure as 1 month ago, and you have been performing this risk analysis report for 1 year, and this is harmful for an organization, which is the false security of the false sense of security, which is lethal for organizations. Because they create a little PowerPoint box. You aren't safer and secure for this. This will end up with the whole cycle of risk analysis, and then control and monitoring phases. You start off the project, and you find accidents, events which are more likely to happen, and you tend to monitorize them much more. And you put a lot of monitorization of this likely event. You need more planning, more following up meeting. Do you like the following up meetings? No, it's not cool. You are doing and performing more and more meetings, but you need to be more focused on the project because I wanted to get forward. This is the lethal spiral. Another thing is uncertainty. We are in uncertain scenarios. We don't know what is going to happen, what is happening now. Alfonso said, Chinese are bored, but they are very bored people. That was literal wording of your phrase. Because life changed, buddy. The risk analysis performed 2 months ago is useless now. You did it very well. You put the little PowerPoint box in green. That thing is not this one. What you saw there is not what you have now. Risk analysis serves for the purpose of doing presuppositions. Put it a lot of love and care, but put it very shortly. I think that this Friday or this Saturday there will be another talks about freshen and paradigm growth marks. Why they call it risk analysis when they are talking about risk inventions? You are inventing, you are making up this event. I don't buy it. I don't think this event is going to happen to me. That's why I want to introduce the concept of complexity. This is a very interesting one for me. I want to get this message across to all of you in a very caring way. This guy has anything to do with David Snowden. I read your mind. No, it's not David Snowden's ankle. It has two very interesting attributes. He is Scottish. He likes beer a lot. The photo is not dubbed or tricked. This guy created the model Kinefin. If you search it for it on Google, it's Kinefin with Greek. This model serves for telling to the make decision people what scenario are you working for. This guy identified 3 scenarios, a simple one. In the simple scenario, are you familiar with Kinefin? Oh, cool, I'm happy. When you're in a simple scenario, they apply the best possible practice. When you are in a complicated scenario, what they apply is good practice. They aren't the best, but the good ones. Are you familiar with best practices for those working in security? Best practice. It serves for simple environments. How many of you think that what we're seeing in rooted is simple? Why do we put it in simple way with best practices? Because it's not simple at all. We are applying approaches in wrong environments, and this is what I want to get across to you. We aren't centered correctly because in complex environments, not complicated, complex environments, we are applying rehearsals. We need to do testing and proofs in a very secure way because you don't have all the information available to you, and then we have the rest of it, which is chaos. These environments are differentiated basically because between the complicated and complex. In the complicated one, you know, all the players interacting, but in the complex one, this information is not available for you. You don't know how many players are intervening, how they are interacting in between. And the normal thing is that situations in our world are going through all these scenarios. Any one of you lived in their own person the very phishing attack in Spain. Did you define the scenario as simple? No, that's chaotic. My goodness, I was running around like a duck out of them. Nobody knew that we were stolen from through the internet, but over time we have understood how the scenario have been moving from chaotic to complex to complicated. Now is simple. Perhaps I would choose a complicated scenario to put it clearly. Now, let's wrap up the four scenarios pattern, which is simple. How to manage an iPad, being a 4-year child, because it's simple. You don't need too much. You know the interactions because they are in your head. In these simple scenarios, Snowden says what they are applying is, in these simple scenarios, is to analyze, to obtain, to sense, to identify what is going through, classify, and this is done by your man, and you are acting consequently. Basically speaking, you are parading, and you can see if you are going off your side. So you can accelerate if your soldier is not doing properly. You can put the brake. But what happened in a complicated scenario? Formula One, I don't say F14, because Ferrari are always behind the car. But this is from, I don't remember the year. This scenario is complicated. Why do I say it's complicated? Oh, it's running very quickly. Is it because there are many pieces, but you can disassemble the car, and you can take the manual, you can say how to do it to the engineers, and you can get it assembled again for the next week. And this guy says to us, you have to identify the information, analyze it, and respond it. It's what we call the world of the good practices from like this. Good practices. We'll come up with very many good practices. The complicated words called the engineer world. You only need engineers because it's a very complicated environment. You need somebody expert who is a pundit at it. But let's move on to the next world, which is the complex environment, which is an ecosystem. But for example, the society we are living now is complex now, and sometimes it's almost chaotic. But of course it's complex. You cannot reproduce this complex society. If tomorrow you want to reproduce a society or ecosystem, you won't be able to do so. You won't be able because you don't know all the players or interactions. In this world, you have to test. You have to do testing. You need to make experiments to analyze the information obtained and to act consequentially. These are called safe and secure tests. We are playing with Coke can. Is gas coking in the can? We need to identify tests and to identify the patterns and the templates. And in fact, depending on these templates and patterns, we need to perform different and various risk analysis strategies if they see if they work. It's working, it's not working. There is a very important Spanish person who's about to sponsor some race route in Spain who was attacked by Anonymous. They were ready to confront this Anonymous attack, and they were taking with different counter measurements. So they use these countermeasures. They were testing. They were doing testing because you really don't know. You don't have enough information. You don't know all the interaction. It's not a perfect equation. In a chaotic environment, I want to start long because the only thing you can go is run, move on, and push up. You are like a firefighter. Any one of you working in incident groups or team, don't you feel being like a firefighter? You can only resort to first aids. So what is happening now? We are applying techniques, working in the complicated world and onto the complex world, and they don't work in the complex world. Oh, you know these GSE, this P, beep, you think, oh, I'm quiet, I'm calm, but why are you that calm? Because the message is cannot tell you how to stop an anonymous attack. That's I'm worried because people are focused on this and they aren't focused on being more secure. But that's why we are here. That is called security. Why are I only focused on the CSEs and risk analysis? Be focused on being more secure and how to deal with better responses towards attacks, against attacks. Sorry. This is what I'm standing up for, done by an agile organization. The risk is embedded in their own processes. Because by applying any agility methodology, you are minimizing the risks by applying it to your own processes in a cascade. Some requirements are given to you, and 6 months later, they say to you, okay, this is not valid for us, so 6 months work to the thrash. No, don't get crazy. Give it some pills. Do you like the screen? Next week you'll have the screen. Because you can learn from your user. What are you doing with Agile? With Agile, you are embedding the risks in your own processes which are resistant to threats. And this is brutal, it's massive, it's cool. I will show you another example. A lottery system, because this Friday is giving you 100 euro millions. These guys select the tickets drawn in the database with the winning lottery combination. They perform the process into CPUs differently. Every machine performs the process with different manufacturing companies. They do so in 4 times, and in the end of the draw, the number combination is the same. They stop the process. If it's some hacker wants to introduce a false or a fake ticket in the process, they have to put it at least in the 4 companies, in the 4 processes. So we need companies to be able to drive in the fog. They need to be capable to step forward in the right direction. Like I said, When we perform risk analysis, in their situations they get a fake sense of confidence. They are doing things to minimize the level of risk, but in the very end they are doing anything. But they are doing anything. They put you in a false sensation of security, which makes people not to be on alert. When you are driving in a very normal way, you don't pay a lot of attention to the driving process. Haven't you ever happened to you to think, okay, why did it get to this point this way? But you weren't aware of how you get to this point. If you are driving in the fog, this never happens to you because you open your five senses and you are totally on alert regarding any cars behind you, no curbs to affect you. You open your five senses, and so that's what we have to implement in our organizations. Don't put our organization in a false comfort sensation regarding risk analysis. This is not this way. This false sensation of overconfidence is very worrying for me. 4 years ago, I attended an event of protection of severe critical infrastructures, such as an airport, a nuclear plant, facility necessary for our clients because they told us, okay, we are very, very calm because we have implemented CS6. I'm not a Catholic, practicing Catholic person, but okay, but I was touched. They asked you, oh, we are protected because we have an RSE. What's that? I'm very worried about this and concerned as well. To sum up, what should we do? We aren't the Vatic, we aren't the storyteller. We don't know what is going to happen. We need to know what is called what's called auditing processes, what we call almost failures or mistakes. When something occurs to you, it's like the previous example of alarms, a fire alarm, we tend not to be alert on this. We tend to ignore these alerts. Why did this process stop? No need to think about. Analyze it. It doesn't take you a lot of time to analyze why the process stops. Perhaps it was an attempt, an attack attempt, or perhaps it's true there inside. But you said to say, okay, it stops and now reboots, but you're losing an opportunity as to what happened. And I want to tell you that you need to be like engineers working. You need some hypothesis, arguments. You need to look for facts and assumptions to invalidate these presumptions. We need to look for this so-called concept of resilience. Resilience is to have organizations capable of resisting an attack. Put it this way, period. Capable of recovering themselves after suffering a deformation. It's a physical term. Okay. This is a meeting in which Agile was born. For those being developers are familiar with it. Agile is a mindset. It's a set of. It's not a methodology. Methodologies are on screen: Scrum, XP, Crystal Clear, DSFP, and FDF. Agility has very good things, which are in Agile. We embrace for changes. Changes means knowledge. Change is admit that life changes at every single time. We have plan A, plan B, and tomorrow we'll have plan C. And it's like this. We don't plan a lot. How much do you plan in Scrum or Agile? Or perhaps no more than 2 weeks, because you don't know what's going to happen in a 1 year time. You explore scenarios, you explore the road as you go. And you are correcting yourself. You don't, you lever up, you lever down among curves. Many things are happening when you're driving. You can turn on the pilot, the automatic pilot. This is what is called the Agile entrepreneurship. When you're starting off something, you need to move on to that place. You start walking, and after 10 steps, you say, no, it's over here, over there. And you go back a little bit to change slightly the itinerary, and this is managed by perfection. The point is, if you are telling them I'm in the very end when the other guy is 3 kilometers away from you, oh my goodness, you need to go step by step to finally guarantee yourself. What is Agile telling us? They tell us you have to apply, then inspect, and finally adapt. This is clearly similar to what Snowden says to us. It's almost the same. What should we do? How can we apply our ideas in our secure environment organizations? We need to work to cooperate with the user, with the client, which is part of the problem, part of the solution. We cannot leave it away and say, okay, I don't know, this is not like this. This is a two-people process, and we have to perform regular releases, little by little, small projects, explore little by little. Let's check if it works and simplify. My goodness, complexity is the largest enemy and the biggest enemy of security. Things work better in simpler environments. Such complex organizations won't secure themselves, won't be safe and secure. Important thing is daily meetings, briefings, 10-minute briefings, upstanding, having some coffee. Oh, I'm cold now, having my coffee. At last, daily meetings, periodical phone-ups, don't stop to do things once a month. All things, technical excellence is a search for on agile technical excellence, motivated individuals and team. I always remember a meeting I had with a client. I wanted to install LDP or set up an LDP. Try to hire to have 2,500 employees. So don't put on an DLP because you are going to be stolen from it. If you don't have motivated individuals, body or human being has a hacker inside. Everybody will try to jump over the fences and the fences, all controls. In my old times, we have a bus in a paper bus, and the thing somebody turn over the bus. This is hacking, pure hacking, pure hacking. Conversations, talk with clients and customers, and give a lot of information. In security, we tend to talk Swahili, to talk Chinese. How can we organize? Oh, this is super cool, but it's good like this on the right. We are a group teaming up with each other. Conversations, what did the customer told? Refactoring, continuous improvement. You have a portion of your code and you want to improve these pieces of code because they are minute, very tiny pieces if you apply the Mega Symphony program. Not little by little. By the way, I took note of it. You don't need the draw machine of code. You also need to have a common vocabulary, but it has to be understood. This is principles taken from agile methodologies. Collective ownership is basic. All have to be feeling part of this. Do you remember the hen and the pig being committed to this process? Have you ever heard about this joke of where a hen and a pig meeting together and the hen tells the pig, we're going to set up a restaurant, and the pig says, oh, it's cool, yes. Our main dish will be bacon eggs. And the pig says to the hen, it doesn't seem like this. The hen says, it's compromise is committed. The one committed and compromise is myself, being the pig. Oh, I'm very bad doing this pork and pig thing, but it's the way. The pig was committed and compromised to the hen because it was her pork. We are part of the organization. For me, the paradigm, the mantra for you to be conveyed from me is, if we want to have a secure organization, I will recommend you to apply agile, to be agile. Let's be agile. It's, to sum up, it's agility. Agility is sum up in early detection, first step. We need to know as soon as possible that something can happen to us or is happening right now to us. Don't leave any clues away. Early detection, second stage, immediate response, a deployment of a failure cannot take 1 month. It needs an immediate response. And third stages, be alert to the incident, learn from our own incident with a quick exploitation. Final example, resilience sample based upon the appliance of these principles. Global Story 2007, this speaks, I'm showing you now, in where they were flooded. They spent a lot of money in creating barricades of sandbags, and it was overflooded because, okay, the water overflooded, and they weren't able to stop it. What did they do? They have two options. They can get the sand wall up, the water is overflowing more and more. But they changed their focus, their approach, and they implemented something from their learnings. They implemented an alarm from when the water reaches a certain height in the sound wall, an alarm rings up in the village, and the villagers go quickly to resolve this issue. Those who are being very well paid call it a change of paradigm. You have to work thinking that they are inside there. They made it through. You cannot think that your barriers will be able to contain water. It doesn't work. They are getting through and in. You have to stop it. It's useless, but people are putting their alarm. They are changing their houses. They are changing their walls. They are putting stony walls in such a way that water goes in and out. And they have all the facilities, electrical facilities from up, down, and bottom, and some crookeds from the ceilings for people not to be disturbed by this flooding water. This exemplifies organizations subsisting in an environment where water is flooding through the houses. This is what I want to convey to you. We need to perform these exercises if we are working in this world of scenarios. To wrap up, I'm a freak in computers. I'm a freak in the theory of limitations. I'm moving forward with my movie, with my storytelling process. This theory of limitations with evaporation clouds, that's the concept, evaporation clouds. Basically speaking, when somebody is confronting this problem, somebody can tell you, what are you telling about? You haven't prevented the security message? I don't know the solution, but we can trust you. That more control doesn't mean that the organization is secure, more secure. It's not the same. You are inferring, deducting things, deducing things that are not correct. This has to be broken in this dichotomy among what we need organizations with early alarm, immediate response, and incident leverage, because they will make the organization more efficient and effective, and they will create more unbeatable fortresses like the Boy Scouts and be ready for action. And the most important thing for you is to think for yourself. Don't go yourself away only with good practices. Let's think about it. Thank you very much.
Sí. Es que como me han puesto aquí entre el café y la comida, digo, ahora los dejo sin comer y ya me tiran ahí. Bueno, este año no hay cerdos voladores para tirarlos.
I'm talking about flying pigs. My goodness. Please, any questions? Raise your hands. Hello, Antonio. It's not clear for me how to get the money if you don't present the risk analysis to the management office, because for us to react quickly, you need a lot of money. And another question you brushed it about, which is the non-availability of information regarding what is happening right now. Sometimes we know what happened to us previously, but this problem happens to us because we don't know what is happening to our colleagues. Since we don't know what is happening to the rest of the people until the river doesn't go over us, we don't learn about anything. Thank you. Mario Lopez helped me a lot with this previous talk. Regarding the first question, how do we get money? It's true that we have been located on these premises. It's a heavy thing. Oh, risk analysis, and I'm sending it over to them. For me, risk analysis serve to do budgets. When we are spending money, why should I spend more money and being more secure? So let's put our money. Let's spend our money on where in the best possible way. And we are thinking this way every single day. You have a budget in your house, and you have to decide on putting rails, fences, or an alarm, or a armored door. This mental exercise has to be performed every day. You done it in one moment. You vision your scenario, you estimate and create your budget, your quote, and you start working. But from working from this way, the risk analysis you can put it in the drawer because it would lead you to be more secure. I will use risk analysis for this, and for this I will use the necessary time, but I won't strive to do a lot of risk analysis. Regarding the other problem, that's the problem. Here's the problem. Organizations are not agile, they are stagnant. Short times, this was the doctrine, sending information. Our organizations are stagnant. Our small kingdoms, we don't want to share information, we don't want to share what is going on. Regarding security incidents in Spain, a few of you seen incident securities in Spain. Some banks say they have zero phishing incidents. We have to change it. We have to change it. We really want to have Gloucesters. If you want to be a Gloucester sample and living in a flooding world, you need to share information. You need to know when the river is coming through you. This is a utopia, but this is the way it is. When there is no remedy for it, you will start sharing information. Are you hungry? A question over here at the bottom, one upstairs, now at the bottom. Thank God this is a small site for us to be in, and you can move around quickly.
Hola, yo quería hacer
much more than a question, just a personal comment. Your example of the flooded village, I don't find it to be the right one because the way it is flooded is always the same. But the way you have been explaining it, I think it requires more training. If it's always flooded, let's put up the wall, and we always know that water is coming through downstairs. But if it's coming from upstairs, or instead of water flooded, is an earthquake. There's a handicap between the physical world and the online world, to put it this way. The physical world, if you share things, you need half and half, but on the digital one, it's the other way around. Our more complex ecosystems are more complex than the grocery store's reality because they only know that the flood is on the same place. This gives me more premises for more early detection. We need to be aware of the anomalies of our system, but we may know how our system works normally, and we need to know this normal function, and we need to be capable of detecting anomalies. And there is a big part of training is what is called the leverage in the incident. We need to learn from previous experiences and integrate it in our dynamics. Evidently, it's a simplification, but I like putting these metaphors and oxymorons to make people to understand this, but of course, simplification, isn't it? Thank you, everybody, for your attendance and your attention.